It's a landmark day, guys, for gender equality and for role of women in the Indian Army. Today, the Supreme Court has said that women officers can be given permanent commission. Not only that, they can actually be in commanding roles. So they can become commanding officers in the verticals where they're already allowed, where they're already serving. So after the end of 14 years, it's not as if their tenure will come to an end. If they want permanent commission, they can go for it and they can go right up till the top. And something very interesting that the Supreme Court has said while passing this order, that the centre's argument is disturbing and against equality, that there is actually no link between physiological features and women's rights, and that gender justice will guide engagement of women in army. Now, why Supreme Court making some of these comments is essentially because our government made a submission during the hearing of this case, which essentially said that women should not be allowed as a permanent commission and specifically in commanding roles, because most men in the Indian Army come from rural backgrounds and they're not going to be listening to a woman giving them orders, and that the physical features and the physiological features are very different for women officers and they can't be at par as the men officers. Yes, some of the arguments that were made by the centre was as archaic as that. They actually said physical fitness standards are distinctly lower for women soldiers, and that Indian men are not mentally schooled and trained to follow instructions from women. And then obviously there is the added challenge of women with motherhood and childcare, which kinds of put them at a disadvantage. Supreme Court today said nothing doing. These are archaic rules and arguments that are not going to hold any kind of value anymore. Now, this part done. And Mira now had raised this issue much before the final verdict came from the Supreme Court, and we are glad this verdict has come. Now we need to move on to the next step and open the doors of Indian Army in combat roles. Even now, women are not allowed in armored corps or even in infantry in the frontline battle lines. And that's where women should also be allowed. And by the way, any argument that the Army really gives or the government gives at this point of time doesn't hold value anymore, keeping in mind that the Air Force and the Navy actually have women in all of the possible roles where men are. And I'll give you some examples. This is what Admiral Lamba recently said. We've already commissioned women officers in combat. They're flying the P-8I Maritime Patrol Aircraft, which is a combat platform. We already have women flying jets and fighter jets in the Indian Air Force. You have women actually being awarded the Yudh Seva Medal. Everybody remembers Minty Agarwal, Squadron Leader Minty Agarwal, who was actually the one guiding Wing Commander Abhinandan during that battle. So there is absolutely no reason why women should not be in combat posts, even in the Indian Army.